Hi, Steve Riley. Welcome to this episode of Great Practice, Great Life. Today, I have one of my friends, one of our wonderful Atticusins, who's a member of the Atticus community, here today to talk about something he passionately cares about. I think he's totally, utterly wrong. We're going to argue about it. But with that, I want to introduce Jonathan White. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Steve, thank you so much. And thanks for having me back. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to be here and argue with you about today's topic.
Good. Very good. Very good. Two lawyers arguing about something. It's the only way we're going to work through it, I think. I just want to give people a little bit of a background because you were on a prior podcast with your practice growth coach, Victor. And that was really, the stark terror of hiring your first employee, right? So let's just give people a perspective of who you are and where you're at. So what's your practice like, Jonathan? What do you practice? The law.
So I'm a Massachusetts-based estate planning attorney. I do some real estate conveyancing, but at this point, it's mostly commercial because, and we'll get into this during the podcast, I did cut the residential real estate practice out. And there's a direct tie to what we're going to argue about and why I did that. What supports the estate planning and commercial real estate conveyancing is, of course, some estate administration and some corporate work that's involved in it. But it's mostly the estate planning that's running the firm with those ancillary practice areas.
You're saying you're investing an hour a day on your own health, and that gives you increased energy. Makes sense. You don't have to spend as much money on pants anymore because you can fit into your pants again, right? And you're probably setting a great example for your family and team on, having a great life. So I totally get that. That makes sense to me. But how does it make you more money? Like straight up, how does it improve your practice? I don't get that part.
Sure. This leads into something I've coined the Winnie the Pooh effect.
The Winnie the Pooh effect?
The Winnie the Pooh effect. This is
like
what I call it.
Like Christopher
Robinson, Winnie, Piglet, all of this.
Okay, good. I'm making sure I'm referencing that. It could be a rap star film.
There's a great quote that comes out of it. It says, "Promise me you'll always remember. You're braver than you believe. You're stronger than you seem, and you're smarter than you think." So what happened is this. One day I did a 2-hour ride. It was offered. I did it. I never thought I could do it. I did. When I got done with that ride on a Saturday morning, there was nothing that would stop me from thinking that I could do anything I wanted to do. And I could transfer that over. So now all of a sudden, how I set goals for my firm changed because of the Winnie the Pooh effect. Because I'm like, if I can do this over here, and I have all of this mindset shift and energy shift, I can apply it over here and I can choose to play a bigger game. I can choose to chase harder goals and I can achieve them because I'm stronger than I think I am, because I'm smarter than I think I am, because I'm braver than I believe I am. That's one of the things that just happened. So all of a sudden, chasing a revenue goal seemed not only more reasonable, but more attainable. But once you start measuring it, it's achievable.
That's interesting because in all the years that I've coached attorneys and team leaders and worked with them, I've noticed the ones that have taken on a major health transformation. And I don't care if it's Peloton, I don't care if it's working out with weights, I don't care, what it is, but taking on some form of exercise that physically impacts them, especially, certain disc profiles will respond amazingly well to exercise. And I've noticed that they actually do make more money. Now, we don't have studies that support this. We don't have research, but we do have, I've had experience and evidence of watching clients sometimes double their income. And what they point back to is what you're calling the Winnie the Pooh effect, which sounds much more fun than anything else I've ever heard. So one of the big things that tear the legal industry up is anxiety, depression, and burnout. 1 out of 2 lawyers is reporting burnout. We report depression at 3 times the national average. We support, and anxiety levels are at an all-time high. So for me, One of the reasons I encourage exercise is not so they don't have to buy new pants, is really so that they can strategically think through how to confront burnout, strategically think through how to deal with depression, and strategically think through how to reduce anxiety, because there's a lot of anxiety in the practice of law. I don't care if you're a team leader, an associate attorney, brand new to the business. There is, there's plenty of evidence to this, and it's really, really, it's a tough profession for a lot of people. And what your argument is, and then I may unfortunately have some research to support your argument. Um, how has exercising helped you in those three categories: managing burnout, managing your emotional state? How's it helped you?
I don't get burnt out.
You don't get burned out. Well, that's
No,
crazy. So
don't
what
get
you're
burnt.
saying is the investment of an hour into exercise is prohibiting or reducing the risk of burnout.
I will take it a step further and argue with you. Those days where I have to pivot away from what I wanted to do, whether it's shifting the type of exercise I'm doing or shifting to later on in the day, I actually will start to feel burnt out because I haven't done the exercise yet. So one of the things I don't like to wait till the end of the day, besides I may have a dinner or want to see my family or mow the lawn or whatever it is I've conditioned myself to, if I get it done first, I'm setting myself up for success because I don't feel burnt out because I've invested that time in me. And by investing that time in me, it helps me avoid the burnout.
So you're trading a billable hour for investment into you, and so you invest into you for a long game, not a short game.
Yes.
And your argument is not only are you investing for a long game, but you're actually improving your practice financially because it's giving you time to think, time to improve, time to work. Anything else? Because I have a couple of studies here that I
Yeah.
found that I think are interesting that I'm share with you and ask you to comment.
I think to kind of put a cap on that last thought, to me, when you get done doing something, especially if you pick a challenging one, the chemical effects, the dopamine that you're getting at the end is a little longer lasting than the video game type dopamine. And that has some legs that will help carry you through the day or carry you through a period of time, which I think supports this idea of you don't feel as much anxiety or burnout because your chemistry is now conditioned to work different.
Do you have any last thoughts on this topic?
I just want to pick up something that you said for people out there that still may be skeptical or want to do it, but aren't sure how. And I think you have to start with the first step. You have to start with the day one. You don't have to get to 209 weeks at once. Like just go out. You don't have to invest money. You don't have to buy a thing, join a cult, subscribe. You just need a pair of sneakers and a route to walk. And if you just start with that, one little thing, all those big things that you may be using as a way to prevent you from starting will take care of themselves.
I love it. So you might recommend just if somebody's listening to this, put on a pair of sneakers. Doesn't have to be sneakers. Just put on a pair of shoes or walk for 10 minutes and walk for 10 minutes for a week or a month, and then work it up to 15 minutes and work it up to 20, then work it up to 30. But just exercise that commitment muscle, exercise those goal setting muscles, exercise a meditative thought process. And there's a whole school of meditation, interestingly, around walking, which is a topic for another podcast or episode. And I think it's great advice, Jonathan. Thank you. Any other advice you'd like to share?
Um, don't be afraid to push yourself. So if you set a big goal, see what happens. If you fail, you're still going to learn something. If you achieve it, you're going to learn something and you might want to set another goal, because watch out, it may be contagious. You may want to feel that same sense of success again. So, after you propel yourself into motion and you're ready to set goals, don't be afraid. I mean, I can remember when the platform said, we are doing a 2-hour ride. And even though I'd done 90-minute rides and all these things, I said, how am I going to do this? And I just did it. I'm just going to do it. And you find out that the Winnie the Pooh effect comes in, and you're stronger than you think you are, they think you are, and it just works out. And I would argue that the benefit you get from that feeling of achievement is greater than anything you would get from not doing it.